You think about moving to New York? We'd love to have you, but this is not like you see in the movies.
You're listening to How to Move to New York City, an instruction manual for the biggest move of your life. I interviewed New Yorkers, new and seasoned, from across every borough on the topics that matter most when integrating into a new place. This episode is to help you decide whether the move to New York City is right for you. There are some things you'll hear that are not exactly pleasant, but every place you move to has pros and cons. There's a lot that goes into a decision, especially in New York. It's the kind of place that will chew you up and spit you out. So you have to be prepared. Think about what is going to make you happy, what is going to open doors for you and bring you in the direction that you want to go in. Depending on what's important to you, New York might be the place to be, or it could be the worst place to be. It really just depends on what your story is.
To live in New York is to be constantly on a mission to make a living and have a life and travel and all that good stuff.
New York is definitely its own beast.
So, here are 11 things you should think about before moving to New York City. 1. You'll need to make a good amount of money.
The rent will push you out.
It's generally recommended to pay no more than 30% of your income in rent. So if you make $80,000 a year, that's a cap of $2,000 a month. Meanwhile, the median rent in the city for a one-bedroom can range from $4,000 in Manhattan to $3,000 in Brooklyn to around $2,500 in the other boroughs.
Come with your wallet packed. This is no joke out here.
2. You won't have much or any privacy.
Living in Massachusetts, I was living in a spot where I was paying less than $800 a month for a bedroom that was significantly larger than the one that I moved in. Then I got here and was paying like a little more than $1,200 to live in people say like live like a shoebox, and like it really felt that way because I had next to no space. My view wasn't even nice. Like our bathroom was so small. I remember my best friend came to see me. She was like, oh my God, I literally can't even she was like curled up, like couldn't even stretch her legs when she used the toilet.
Any kind of special concert that you have on your own, your music, your internal, external monologues, all of it, your neighbors can hear. And outside, you're sharing public space with hundreds of thousands of people. So you're going to have to be really strategic about trying to find open space, or you're just going to have to be very comfortable in tight, confined spaces. 3. It's one of the loudest places to live. As someone from a small town, it can be a lot to process sometimes. But here is a nerdy tip. Check out the National Transportation Noise Map. Boop, boop, boop. Look it up. Here it is. And look up places in the city that you're considering moving to. Compare it to where you live now. See where the large noise corridors exist and how they've changed over time. And make sure to add all the layers for all the different types of noise. And that way, at least you can get a sense of what you're getting into before you visit. 4. You'll cohabitate with 3 million rats.
It's quiet, it's safe, and the thing we probably hate the most about New York City is the rats. They're everywhere, and so, even Park Slope, which is a much, much, much fancier, more expensive neighborhood, I have seen as many rats there as I have in this neighborhood.
Let's give it up for the unofficial mascot of New York City. But seriously, if you're walking around the city, especially at night, you're going to hear their scurrying, their squeaking. They're hustling just like you are, okay? And those trash cans are right next to where you're walking. So you're going to be up close and personal with the rats. 5. The streets can be covered in a full range of waste.
Look down when you walk on the street. There's a ridiculous amount. It's really a struggle to look up on the street. Even though I'm like, oh, but pay attention to the flyers. You just have to be careful wherever you step. Looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up. Looking down can also be looking down, looking ahead. There's so much dog on these streets. Yeah, it's rough.
So don't care too much about your shoes. 6. The homelessness and mental health crisis is sadly very visible.
There's a man who got on the train. He just out of nowhere started singing really loudly. Then he started yelling, and then he started banging things. And I was like, I'm just gonna make a move to the other train car. But the number of times where it's I wasn't alone in that.
You learn when to get off that train car and get on another train car because there's somebody that you're not real comfortable with or you're by yourself.
Last year, New York City's homeless population was twice that of any other city. See note earlier about super expensive. Given that the city is a heavily walking, train city, you'll have to be comfortable cohabitating and just coexisting in shared space with people who are struggling. 7. Owning a car is a bad idea.
In terms of who would be happy here, if you're used to driving everywhere, this is going to be a big adjustment. There is nowhere to park. Traffic is terrible. Car insurance here is higher than anywhere else in the world.
It is incredible.
So-
Talking to a couple of agents, they say, well, you live in Brooklyn.
Driving here is a major nuisance. There's a reason why less than half of households own a car. The car will get sideswiped, it'll get nicked, and it'll take you at least an hour swirling around the block to find parking. So just don't bother. 8. Don't be a fake.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it a bug. A dude came up to me and he was like, how do I learn to talk like that? I was born here, This is my home, this is my block. You are not a New Yorker, 1000%. You're not a New Yorker, you're a guest within our home. Word too. So respectfully, act like how you act out there, but just know there's sanctions out here. Bro, excuse my French, suck it. The city hates fakers, the city hates bullshit. People can smell bullshit off you, 1000%. Be friendly, but also know that you're a guest here.
Move to New York and know that you're still going to be an outsider. But the city is so international and transient that people generally don't really care. Which brings me to my next point. 9. New Yorkers mind their business, and you should too.
I would say more so wherever you live at, you gotta be comfortable within yourself. You can't really pay attention to what goes on around because you can't control it. Minding your business, that's it.
One thing I'll say about the city is that there's always something unpredictable going on. There's always something weird happening, either in the subway or just in the street. There's interesting characters, very colorful characters all over. So you have to be able to look at those things and just accept it for what it is. It's kind of like improv where you have to go yes and you have to accept it and move on. So that's kind of the vibe.
That was Mike, who grew up in Brooklyn, and Tomas, who moved to Upper Manhattan a year or two ago. New York City is a no judgment zone. Unless, of course, you're in my way.
Just remember, it's a sidewalk, all right? It's not a side stop. It's not a side linger. You know what I'm saying? It is a walk on the sidewalk.
That's Damani, born and raised in Brooklyn. 10. You need to know how to compete. In order to compete with the millions of people you're sharing space with, you need to know how to collect and analyze information about what you're trying to do. You have to be strategic.
It's probably safe to say nothing in New York is as easy as it might be anywhere else. Right? So there's all these different steps, and boy, it takes a long time. And, it's always an education. You learn something new.
Research, a lot of research. Dig a bit deeper. You can't just do that one-page Google search and just say, oh, there's the information, or I couldn't find it. No, you have to keep digging. Don't be afraid to send emails, reach out.
You need to be ready for an adventure, ready to do some homework. One of the reasons that we made it work was we were here a lot already visiting family, thinking about moving here, and we did a lot of groundwork.
When Deb says we did a lot of research, it really means Deb did a lot of research, but she's being kind.
That was Jade, a lifelong New Yorker from Staten Island, and Deb and David, who moved to Brooklyn to be closer to their grandkids. Want to go to dinner tomorrow night? Good luck finding a reservation. Want to go to a concert for your favorite band? Chances are tickets are sold out. Want to get into SNL? You're going to have to join a lottery to get a number, to stand in line all night, to maybe get another number, to maybe not get in. Okay? The point is, you're in competition with everyone for space and entertainment and consumption of anything. So if you're uncomfortable with that, New York City is not probably a great place for you. 11. Last but not least, you need to visit. No matter how much YouTube you watch, or things you read, or things you hear from other people, nothing can really create the sensation or feelings that you'll have when you're in a place. So if you're moving to New York City especially, you'll have to come here and walk around. And based on what's important to you and what excites you and what annoys you, you're going to know inherently if something is right for you. So visit. Do your research on which neighborhoods are of interest to you, which you could even afford, and come play pretend and pretend that you are already living here. Go to the places that you would frequent if you did live here, like if you're into a cafe or the library or a certain gym. Just go through the motions and think about whether that's an improvement in your quality of life or not. Those are some of the top things to think about before taking the leap and moving to the city. Again, a lot of that probably isn't news to you. And for any New Yorkers listening to this, don't hate me, but you probably would say, it's not that bad. And I'm not trying to overblow these things for sure, but they are facets of life here, and anyone thinking about moving here should think about them. Oh, and of course, before I forget, shout out to Sydney in Upper Manhattan, Alex in Brooklyn, and Eddie and Christine in the Bronx. Follow How to Move to NYC on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to get more moving advice from New Yorkers.